It's finally here. It's Tuesday, 8 p.m. It's time for CCUK Resin Q&A Live, sponsored by apexresin.co.uk. Don't forget, use my discount code CCUK, save some money. That's right. Tonight and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. we're going live on the only resin talk show where you meet your favorite artists and creators behind the gloves. CCUK Resin Q&A Live. We'll be talking with fellow resin artists and creators and answering all of your questions live. Make sure you stick around. Ask all your questions in caps lock. Get involved, share this video with your friends and family, and enjoy the show. And with that, I'd also like to take a moment to say a massive thank you to everyone that supported this channel, guests, sponsors, members, and subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. We all grow together. The more questions you ask, the better the live will be. So be creative and ask away. Make sure at the end of the video you give it a thumbs up and comment. That's how we all keep growing. But for now, sit back, grab a drink, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, 8 p.m. UK time. You know what that means. It means it's time for another Resin Q&A Live. And I'm so excited tonight because we've got another newer channel. And I get so excited when we've got newer channels because I think we can have a real impact in helping them grow. Not only that, I've also just launched that 10K subscriber giveaway. So if you've not entered, go back. Get entered. You've got 2 weeks to enter is all I'm saying on that. And I've just had my flu jab as well. But hopefully that's not going to impact tonight's live. But before we go any further, let's get tonight's guest on. And I think it's going to be quite an interesting one, actually. We've just been talking before the live. And we were talking that much, I forgot to go and make myself a drink. So hopefully it's going to be a good one. So let's all welcome Loretta onto the stage from Custom Creations by Low. Hey, Loretta.
Hey, everybody. I am so happy to be here. And thank you, Andy, for having me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, thanks for being here, you know. And it was at short notice as well because I had a cancellation for this week. And normally I've got but anywhere between sort of 6 to 8 weeks fully booked. And luckily you were available and we'd been talking. So it's great to have you on. And you mentioned you'd been watching these right from the start as well.
Yes, I have been. And I try to pop in, when I can, when I see the notification comes up. And it's like, okay, it's that time. And I don't make all of them, but I do try to come in and see, what's going on.
And that's the thing. Do you know what? And I say this to everybody. So anybody watching this back, not everybody can make it precisely at this time every week, which is, for me, it's just simpler to do it at the same time every week. That way I know what time it is. But if you miss one and you want to watch it, go back and watch it in the playlist. It will be there forever. And that way you still get to know people. You can still comment. You can still get to know each other, get to network. So I think before we go any further, why don't you just give your channel a bit of a shout out? If one of the mods could find the link to your channel as well, we can put that up. And then let's see if we can get some subscribers.
Yes, thank you. So again, my name is Loretta, but everybody calls me Lo. And it just makes life simple when they go, hi, Lo. And I'm like, hi, but my channel is, I started out because I want to make people smile. I like to make people happy and I like to make them smile because you never know. A smile could turn somebody's day or their month totally around. So that's why I started this. But I do primarily resin right now until I get my she shed. And at that point, all my other stuff comes out and I can do more like the repurposing and just different crafts. So again, come visit me. I am new and I look forward to making new friends.
No, which is amazing. And again, I've watched, I think you've been going for about 4 months ish. And here we go. There's the link to your channel. So if anyone needs that link, Go there, subscribe. Yesterday, you're at 90 subscribers, I think it was. Today, you're at 92 before this live. Let's see if we can get low over 100 tonight. You know, that'll be that first little milestone. Hopefully, it's something to celebrate. So, again, you've done 35 videos, though, I think, in the 4 months that you've been doing it. So, it's been pretty consistent.
I'm trying, I'd like to get them out ahead of time, especially, like I said, because I'm going to be having back surgery. And I'm like, well, how am I going to have, get videos done? So I'm trying to build them up so I can get them scheduled, out in advance. But yeah, I enjoy doing them.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You've got one new subscriber at least. Janet's just said she subscribed. So
Woo!
There you go. But no, it's what was it? I mean, obviously, when you first thought resin, what was it that sort of went through your head? What was the first thing you went out and bought and tried?
Well, what got me started, and the reason I did it is because I had met this lady at work. She started working there, and she was talking about, tumblers and that. And I'm like, oh, can you teach me how to do tumblers? So the first thing I went and got me was some epoxy, apparently, and some tumblers. And so I enjoyed that so much. And then I started watching all these resin videos. I'm like, ooh, I want to do that. And then now I've got, like Jeannie B says, my little magic box of mold under my desk. And there's no more room in it. I need another box. So that's how it's progressed.
So what was the first mold you poured, just out of curiosity?
One of the little mushroom jar mold.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen that. I've not got that one, so I've not poured it yet.
Yes.
How did that first pour go?
All I can say, it scared me to death because I had it sitting here. I hadn't gotten my setup quite done yet, and I had it sitting on beside my desk, and I noticed it was super hot, almost bubbling. And I thought, oh my gosh, is this going to explode? It's going, oh my gosh, it's going to go up my ceiling. It's going to go on my carpet. What if I set something on fire? So I moved it and, situated. Thankfully it didn't, but man, it was an ugly thing. It was ugly.
So have you kept it? Have you kept that piece?
Believe it or not, I had it up to like 3 weeks ago, and I was clearing out some of my space. And so I was like, I tossed it just because I was like, yeah, I can do better than that.
Don't toss it again, because you can reuse it in other pieces.
Yeah, I've learned that. And so I've had another one I actually just threw out too. It was probably my second worst one. I was using the Lumalite Fast Cure.
Yeah.
10-minute cure, not realizing it was like polyurethane. So I'm adding glitter and I added glue and I poured it and it puffed up like a cake, like I was baking brownies or something. And I thought, but it looked like concrete with glitter in it. It was kind of pretty, but really not.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. So Sheila's subscribed to you as well. So you're probably growing. I'm going to keep an eye on it halfway through and just see if we've got you over that 100. It'd be amazing.
Amazing.
But do you know what? When you first get into resin, it is a little bit scary because it's like chemistry. It's like going back to a science lab and you're mixing these chemicals together. You don't know what's going to happen. And until you've done a few, I don't think those nerves ever go. And I think that's also part of the thing that I love, because it's almost like science and art mixed together.
Right. Yeah, I agree, because it's like, well, what if I do this? And I've learned the hard way too, things to mix, things not to mix. And so, yeah, it is exciting though, when you demold something, it's like, oh my gosh, I did that.
Yeah. Lisa will probably tell you this. I had her on FaceTime yesterday and the day before, just with the giant canvas pour that I've just poured. And I can't stop looking at it. I'm like, did I really just create this? And how? It's just, and some of your pieces, you just sit there and you can look at them and find something new in them every day. And I think that's what is so amazing.
Yes, it's it is. When people like see things, they're like, "You made that," and it's like, "Yeah, I did," and it's like, look at me, brush here, and but you don't know. Like everyone says, resin will do what resin wants to do, and
yeah, no matter how many times you do it. And I had I've got a tray video that's going to come out soon, and it went wrong. But do you know what? I'm still going to post the video because I think it's important that people know that even when you've done it for a while, things will go wrong. And it's because no matter how much you try and control it, it's got a mind of its own sometimes.
Yes, it does. And I poured those horrible things before I actually started my channel, so they weren't recorded. They were just sitting here like these big giant eyesores, like, look what you did.
Right. Interestingly, you're on 97 subs at the minute, so 3 away from the 100. You're growing, which is great. Yes. As I said to you before, that's what this is all about. It's about getting more eyes on more artists. And the reason why is I think the YouTube algorithm, for some reason, it pushes artists that it thinks that you'll like to you. But sometimes you're missing out. It's like when I first started watching resin videos, I watched, I think it was Julie Cutts from Pouring Your Heart Out, who's based in Australia. And then I watched Daniel Cooper and a bit of Toonpish with Wendy and Claire's Crafty Corner. And then it was only feeding me UK channels. And I didn't even realize it at the time. The odd Australian one popped up as well. I think Sherry Vegas popped up back then. And then all of a sudden, since I've started getting to know more channels from America and other parts of the world, it's starting to feed me those channels. So it now knows that as a viewer, I like resin channels from around the world, not just from my little part of the world. And I think that's what's exciting is people don't know who to watch sometimes. And actually, they don't know your channel exists unless we do something like this where people can get to know you.
I am so appreciative of this because it's like, an opportunity that a lot of, like you said, you wouldn't see this anywhere else. So anybody that has not jumped on board with this and haven't taken that opportunity to, present them.
Hang on a minute. Wait, we've got to stop. You've reached 100. Woo!
Thank you.
I told you it was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen 12 minutes in, but congratulations. You've got 100 subs now.
Wow. That just makes my heart go fast.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad.
Everybody.
It's a great feeling. It's almost like a big milestone to get over. And then obviously your next one's, I don't know, 500 or 1,000 or whatever. But that first 100 one, it's one of the hardest to get as well because it takes time.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And like I was saying, anybody that has not taken the opportunity to try to do this and, be on this channel, at the Q&A really needs to, because it is a great opportunity because nobody else is doing it. And Julie from the Pouring Your Heart Out was one of the very first resin artists that I happened to land on.
Yeah.
And then
Bloom Queen.
Claire, yep. And then you yourself. And then I just started, seeing different ones. I'm like, man, you can learn so much and so many different things from watching.
There's so much to learn. And that's what I love. I'm one of those people that I say that the day you stop learning is the day that you die. And as long as you're learning something new every day, and even your failures, I actually love the fact that every few weeks I will have a big failure because I learn from that and go think, oh, actually, what did I do wrong? How can I fix that next time? And you learn more from that than when your project goes right.
Yes, I would agree because I now know that if I purchase that Illuminite again, the 10-minute cure, not to put glue in it because that was horrible.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, the glue technique, I've done that in a few different resins and it's worked okay. But you've got to realize the tiniest bit all changes it completely. And it turns almost into a slime when you pour it. It reminds me of slime. But it is cool. I do like experimenting with different things. So we've talked about what got you into resin. What got you into then going, do you know what? I want to start doing this on YouTube.
Well, it was funny because I was binge watching some resin channels and stuff. And my husband, he's like, he calls my craft room a hoard room. And it really does look like a hoarder's room because I've got stuff everywhere. And so I was watching this. I think it's when I had my neck surgery around March. He goes, "Why don't you get on YouTube and make some money?" I'm like, "Well, why don't I?" So that's how I jumped on. It's like, and I've been a lead worker and a trainer and stuff before. I thought I can do this. So yeah, so it was kind of his comment saying, "Why don't you get on there?"
Yeah. And there's space for everyone. That's the beauty of it. And resin, I mean, I've been looking at some data and statistics and all that just because I'm a bit of a geek. And they're saying over the next 2 years, they expect resin and resin craft to go up by a minimum of 300% in popularity, which means we're still early getting in, guys. So, and I think YouTube as well, that is growing in popularity now. There's more people that watch YouTube than watch normal TV. So I think just because of that fact alone, it means there's more than enough space for everybody that puts the effort in to grow. You know, it's exciting.
It is very exciting. And the fact that there's still that much growth being allowed, you know, that's coming forward is a great opportunity for people like, say, myself, you know, wanting to start out, you know, in something. And this is the way to go because it's worldwide.
Yeah, Laura's just put a comment in actually, which I think it's worth voicing as well. She sees lots of people who don't follow the 10% rule. So 10% colorant to epoxy and pastes. You only need 5% really usually, and it can cause a flash cure, which I agree. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I've mistakenly over-poured mica in and been a bit naughty, and it's still cured. But again, you've got to try and follow that rule. And whilst Laura's here as well, I just want to say thank you because she's donated one of the prizes for that giveaway as well. So thank you to Laura. And yeah, she does some amazing products as well. So check her out as well at Laura's Art Corner.
I just put in my second. I'm sorry. I just put in my second order with her. So today, matter of fact, because I got some other stuff. So it's great.
She's got some amazing products, and that Candy Apple Red, Blossom Red, that is my favorite red.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I got it, and I had seen. I think it was Tammy at Epoxy that she had used it or somebody, and I was like, I have to have that color.
Yeah.
That's what got me, doing my first order. And I was like, and then I got it and I use it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love blue, but that is beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning. It is just stunning. And it's like that metallic element to it as well. And I think it's a bit like that. I know you can get there's a chrome pad from Let's Resin, but I still think compare the two, and I don't know what it is, but the Candy Apple Blossom Red, it seems to be brighter and more metallic and have more of a sheen to it, which I love.
It's beautiful. I mean, as a Marine Corps veteran, of course, I love red, white, and blue. And my first thought was, oh, man, I could do a beautiful flag with this red. It's going awesome.
Did you see my Pennywise piece with it?
I actually missed that part yesterday. Can you
grab it? I'll show you.
Yes, thank you.
So it is absolutely, and the backing was perfect, and that was that Candy Apple Blossom Red.
Oh yeah, I love that.
It just came out stunning, that red, and it just really, really pops. But yeah, that was my Halloween piece. But there we go. Back to you. So I always like to get a piece of resin and show it off, but I think we do as artists, don't we? We've got it all around us.
Oh yes, we do.
So,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You carry on.
No, I was just going to say every time, like one of my friends come over, my box of stuff that I made, I'm like, oh yeah, look through there, look what I made here, or I'm sending them pictures. Look at this, but getting people's reaction, it makes me smile. So, and again, that's what I'm all about, is making people smile and help them, have a better day.
Which I love as well. And I love that you said that as well, because it's the same for me. And I think a lot of resin artists, it's not about making thousands and millions of dollars off of YouTube. We know that's probably never going to happen. Let's be honest. There's probably 1 in a billion chance that one of us might get to that point. It is just about teaching people something new that makes them smile, that can help with the way the world is at the minute. There's enough rubbish going off in the world, which we all know. And it's good to just be able to switch off. And whether that's watching somebody do resin art or whether that's actually trying what they've done and it makes you smile. And we was just talking about Kernix before the show as well. Yeah. And it's like, if ever I'm feeling a bit low, I'm going to switch one of their videos on because I know it makes me smile, their banter. And I think it's amazing that we can have that effect on people. And it's like, I had a lady that I've been talking to on Facebook that's been following my channel as well yesterday. And she just messaged me yesterday to say, look, I just want to say thank you for the tutorials. I've learned so much from you. And that means more to me than being monetized. Just the fact that somebody appreciates it.
Yes, I kept wondering when, after I was watching Kermix, I was like, I wonder what they look like, because you know how you get in with somebody's voice, you're like, I wonder what they look like, just because that's the way my brain works. And then
Is it Veterans Day in the States today?
Yes, it is.
It's also Remembrance Day in the UK as well. So again, thank you to anybody that's been in the forces and the service that they've done for whichever country you're in, to a large extent. I didn't realize it was on the same day, actually, because it was Remembrance Day. We had a 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. I don't know if you do that in the States.
I don't really. I mean, as a veteran, I've been to several things, and I don't really remember them doing that. I think more on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We tend to do that more, but I want to say thank you to anybody that has served as well. I think it's I think it should be part of our society like other countries. Our youth these days could really benefit from that.
Yeah, well, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to claim I was in the forces. I was, but I wasn't in there for any length of time. I did my basic training in the RAF, and then decided I didn't want to move on to the 9-year commitment because it wasn't really for me. But I learned so much, and it really grounded me as a young person. And it was tough. Don't get me wrong; it's very tough, the training and things like that. And I experienced things that I'd probably never experienced in what they call normal civilian life. But it makes you grateful for it as well, and it makes you grateful for everybody that makes that sacrifice as well, with everything that goes off in the world. And again, I know we've talked about mental health and all sorts on this show in the past, and I think that's where I come back to art or craft or resin or whatever your art form is. If you can find a way just to switch off for half an hour a day, you'll feel a lot better mentally. And again, I know we've got people that are in the forces as well that have a resin channel as well. I think we've got Kristen from APO Creations as well, who's still technically, I think she's finished her sort of service life, but she's still working for the forces in a civilian role. And I think it is amazing to see what people do. And I think, again, it's not a career for everyone, don't get me wrong, but I know what you mean, because I was raised in Hungary, where it is part of their national service, where they have to do, I think it's 2 years in the service before they can go on to a civilian career.
I've heard, some people I've spoke with have, said, yeah, here it's required, that they serve. And I think that's a great idea. And because it does, prepare you for what you are going to do. Like I retired from what we call here Department of Human Services. I did like food stamps and Medicaid and the energy programs. And it does prepare you for your future in service, because that's what it is. It's service to the public.
And you told me this is completely off the rail, this. But you told me an interesting fact that I think is amazing. And before this live, tell people what you used to do as well as a career.
All right. I hope everybody's sitting down, because a lot of people don't believe me. I was a professional clown. I did like children's birthday parties, adult parties, church events. I was really involved with the Multiple Sclerosis Society. And so I did a lot of fundraising with my clowning, but I had 2 personalities. One was for the children, and which was Happy Hearts.
Yeah.
And then the other one was for the adults, and it was Partay Pate.
Wow, that is amazing. Do you know what? It's amazing. I don't think I've ever met anybody who was a real life clown. It's amazing. And again, I suppose with that, it was about bringing smiles to people's faces as well.
It was. And I was what they call a white face clown. So my entire face was painted, and then, I had special I'll have to post one time, my videos one day just to show that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun and very rewarding.
Yeah, I can imagine. So back to resin then. Who inspires you, or artist-wise? Who do you watch at the minute, and who gives you sort of inspiration?
I watched Tammy from Epoxy Me that a lot. I also watch Linda at Linda's Resin Room, because they're very kind of like the way I like to do, very much on the fly of creativity, and it's not a planned thing. It's gonna be, well, I guess in a sense it is planned, but yeah, I like watching them. I usually watch both of them every time they got a video, and
Jeannie's
that
saying you
kind of.
need to bring some of those clown antics into the channel.
Well, I don't know about the face painting because, man, that stuff is hot, and I've got too much hair now to wear wigs. So, but I'll try to make you laugh here and there. I'll try to start remembering some old jokes.
Yeah, but again, I think you've got to have fun in what you're doing, and especially on YouTube, because it comes across if you're not enjoying it. And again, I'm not going to name names, but I've watched a few videos throughout the past couple of years that I've watched, and I thought, I don't think they're enjoying what they're doing. And I think it's good to get it across that you're sort of enjoying what the art that you're doing, and I think it comes across on camera. And I think, again, if you can inject as much personality as you can into your videos, you're going to draw more people to you.
I agree. I totally agree, and that's why I enjoy watching, those that I do, because they're having fun. You can tell they're having fun. And another person I love to watch is Jaybird. Um, her cute little laugh just makes me chuckle. And I was like, she seems to be such a sweet person. And I like watching you, Mr. Andy, because you can be very entertaining. So, stuff like that, you can tell if somebody's enjoying it.
Yeah. And I think, do you know what? I think that's one of the great things as well. We all learn from each other. And it's like, I know we've got Petra in chat at the minute as well, and her supernova technique that she's sort of brought up. That is amazing. And it's a stunning piece. I've still not perfected it yet. But I've played around with it. And again, it was just, I think that's where we can all inspire each other and the next generation of resin artists that are going to come through. I think there's so many different artists now that are all coming up with different ideas, trying different techniques. And sometimes, you know what, we might try something and somebody else will call it a technique when actually we've just mixed two different things.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into the techniques yet. My biggest one, which I think I'd reached out to you or said something on the comments that I wanted to do a bloom. And my first one was, it wasn't pretty at all. But the second time I did it, I was beside myself because besides a few little like blobs, it worked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I managed to do something. So I'm trying to get more brave, but I was telling Miss Jeannie B that until I'm out into my she shed and out of the room that I'm in, I don't have a lot of place to store a lot of different resins and stuff. So I've just kind of been, doing that kind of thing for the moment.
Yeah. And again, that's the beauty of it as well. Resin, you can make really small pieces or you can make really big pieces and they can still be amazing. It doesn't really matter on the amount that you use. So what I like about that is resin is expensive. Let's be honest, it's not cheap, but it means that, do you know what? If somebody can afford 1 liter of resin, that could keep them going for 2 months if they wanted to do YouTube videos, if they just did the small jewelry pieces or something like that. Now, I sometimes go a bit crazy and use 4 or 5 liters of resin, which I know not everyone can do, but that's why I love doing that, because sometimes people will think about doing those things but can't afford to do it. So that's where I try, because I'm fortunate that different companies send me products to test, and it's like Apex sort of sponsor these lives as well. I'm fortunate that I can sometimes have more resin than a normal resin artist would. And I think, do you know what? Let's experiment. Let's have fun with it. And people will have these ideas of bigger projects and not do them. So it's almost my responsibility to do them.
See, thank you for claiming ownership of that. It is your responsibility to do them and keep us entertained.
Yeah, well, that's it.
I don't have any sponsors or anything like that. I've been using Bond Crafter and I loved it. But I was on Amazon searching to buy some more resin, and I came across um, this deal, and it said semi-glossy, and I thought, wow, 2 gallons for $70. That's really good price.
Yeah.
And so when it got here and I opened it up, it was Tea Expert. And I'm like, well, okay. And that was a
Yeah.
great buy.
And again, I've used multiple resins on the channel. If you go back from the start and you watch, you'll see that. And all I would say, from my experience, I wouldn't buy unbranded ones from Temu ever again, because you don't know what's in them, and you tend to get very mixed results. But again, I've used Tea Expert at the start of my channel. I had some good results with that as well. I've used Apex, I've used Let's Resin, I've used Mold Resin, I think I used once as well. There's lots of different resins, and they all have unique properties. And the key is, as long as it's a quality resin, find one that you enjoy working with, find one that you get to know those techniques. And as you get to know that resin, you'll get to know what you can do with it. Because again, I still get flash cures every now and then if I don't think about what I'm doing, and with a fast cure resin and things like that. But every resin, and I'm sure there's lots of quality resin companies out there that I haven't tried yet, like Bondcrafter. I know that's only available in the States, but a lot of the US audience has told me about Bondcrafter and said, actually, that's a great resin as well. And I think it's just finding one that you enjoy using and then stick with it, because you will start getting consistent results then and get to know the properties.
That's a great tip. And, like I said, I bought this. Sorry, y'all, I'm having allergies. My face is itching. But I bought the Bond Crafter because I had seen, who was it? I think it was Laura's design studio. She was talking about, and then Tammy also had epoxy me that. And I thought, I'm going to try the Bond Crafter, and fell in love with it. And I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income, so I do try to, manage the money the way I, need to. And I saw that great deal, and I thought, well, why not? And it turned out to be Tea Expert, and the first pours and things that I've done with it's been really good. But so I probably will try to stick with, one or two. And go from there.
And all I would say is learn the difference between a fast cure, a standard cure, and a tabletop epoxy, because they all have very different properties for different results. And you get to learn that as you play with them. And it's like there's certain products that I only use for sort of top coating or doming now, and they're amazing at that. And don't get me wrong, I'll do the odd experiment with them, but majority of the time I'll use a standard 1-to-1 for most of my effects. But then obviously if you're going deeper and things like that, you need a deep pour, because otherwise you're going to get a flash cure. And it's just learning those properties, which again, I love it because it's like science, and I used to love science.
I used to like chemistry, mixing all bio, whatever, mixing everything all together. But so I'm trying to think. My brain just went blank. Poof, out the door it went.
Just to remind everyone in chat as well, any questions, please put them in caps lock. I've just had Lisa message me as well saying that the screen's gone a bit dark where you are. I don't suppose you've got a light you could switch on, have you?
Yeah, let me do that. I had turned it off originally because it was reflecting.
There we go. That's getting fixed as we speak. There we go. That's brighter.
During the day. Yeah, let me try to turn my camera because that light right there. There we go.
We can see you. That's fine. That's better. So any questions, put them in caps lock so we can ask them. I've had a couple come through already. Laura has asked if Tara's been on this on the Resin Q&A live yet. I don't think she has. If she wants to come on, reach out to me. That's fine. We'll get her on. There we go. Jeannie's saying we need to see your pretty face, Lo. So there you go.
Thank you.
But no, talk to me about a project that you want to do in the future. Have you got something in your head that you've not tried yet that you want to try?
I think, like most people, I would love to do a table.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, well, I shouldn't say this, but I always said I wasn't going to make my, silicone molds because I didn't have, until I got out my room. Then it's like kind of got addicted to that. But I would love to do, a wood table. I used to do fluid art pours and marbling, and I've got a few little tables, but I would love to do a nice table, maybe even for my new she shed, so I can have it there to work on.
Yeah, I've done my. One thing you need to remember as well is with tables, you don't, if you want wood being the main effect, you don't need a mold. You can top
Right.
coat it, and it comes out really good. So let me see if I can grab something. Hang on. Oh, this is gonna be like a gym session. This is my table that I've just recently made
That's gorgeous.
as a
I
side
saw,
table.
yeah, that's beautiful. I love the like the side of it too, how it just brings
Yeah,
out.
that was the Shosugi band technique they call it, where you blowtorch it and then you
Yeah,
sand the excess wood off, and it gives you that pattern on the grain.
that's really pretty. I
It's
like that
heavy though,
stuff.
so I'm going to put it down.
That's going to be definitely part of my goal is to do that, so I can, then I can really say, "Oh, look what I did this time."
And do you know how you mentioned flow art? Now,
Yeah,
I've had a bit of a debate about this on Facebook because people have said they don't think you can get flow art techniques in resin. I beg to differ.
right. I saw that one too, and it is absolutely gorgeous.
And that was the open cup technique that they use in flow art.
Yes.
And it's by far my favourite canvas pour. But there we go. That's enough of my stuff. And that was a workout. I don't need to go to the gym now. That was it. That table lifting that, it was just huge. But again, it might be worth. And again, I want to do a bigger table at some point, and I'm actually saving some deep pour until I've got enough to do a bigger coffee table.
Mm-hmm.
But at the minute, it's worth starting off with something like that so you can see the properties of the wood. So one of the mistakes I made on that, which I didn't realize at the time, was I didn't properly seal the wood before I poured the resin, which created loads of little air bubbles that I had to sort. And luckily, I used a long curing resin so I could sort them. But if I'd have used a one-to-one or something like that, it would have just been full of bubbles.
I agree. And I was at, I tend to shop at Michael's more than Hobby Lobby just because I get a military discount at Michael's and they're cheaper. But I
Yeah.
was in Hobby Lobby one day and I was looking at something and the guy said, do you resin wood? And I'm like, well, eventually I'd like to. He actually sells the wood. So I've hooked up with him on Facebook so that I can, when I get brave enough or room enough, then I have a source to go buy the wood from.
Well, we've had a few more questions come through, so let's go through those. So,
Okay.
Petra has asked if you've got a favorite technique in resin.
No, not really, because like I said, I'm still kind of new to it. And for me to master the bloom, because I was like, I've seen people they just try and try, and it's like, so that I would have to say at the moment is my biggest favorite one, rather, because like I said, I'm trying other things, but that so far has been, the most
Did you say
satisfying
that
thing.
the resin you're using at the minute is the Tea Expert one?
No, it was a bond crafter.
I don't know. I was going to give you a temperature for the Tea Expert one because I remember when I used that at the start, but I don't know what it is with the Bond Crafter. But I would imagine from the videos I've seen, it looks like a similar consistency to the Apex High Gloss that I use. In which case, I would say be patient and wait for 36 degrees, then pour. If you do that, you'll probably have 8% success. It's what I'll say.
I bought me a little thermometer thing because my husband's like, why don't you just use one from the kitchen? I said, because I'm not going up downstairs to get that thing. Okay. So
And
I just bought me one.
think about what you're putting in as well. So start with something simple like alcohol inks because they don't weigh hardly as anything and don't mix your white too thick. But then if you're going to do something like mica powder or if you're going to do something like that, you've got to remember the heavier. So you've got to almost think about that and factor it in when you're mixing those colors to not put as much pigment in. So they're actually a little bit lighter. So it means that there's less chance of them blobbing. And when I first started doing mica blooms, I was mixing my mica probably the same as I would for a pour. And now I put half as much mica in and they turn out beautiful. So again, it's just thinking about those things.
Yeah. Like I said, my second, sorry about that. I've got somebody going by on four-wheelers. but yeah, so my second attempt, I would say, was a success because besides like one or two little bobs, I was very happy with the outcome of it. I was so excited. I even took them downstairs and showed my husband. I'm like, look what I did! Look what I did! He goes, "What is it?" And I'm like, "Look, it's a flower." So it was fun.
But the more you do them, I won't say they always go right because they don't, and that's part of what we said at the start. Resin will do what it wants sometimes, and
Exactly.
there's nothing you can do about that. But the more you do them, the better you get with them, and they just it becomes natural. It's like I don't measure my white anymore. I get to the point where I can almost see it with my eye, and I almost know exactly how much to leave on my stick when I'm mixing it and things like that. But you just do that over time, I think, and I think that's the exciting thing. Frosty has said, "Is there a way to know when your mold is full?" I don't
Well,
know. Normally, you fill it to the top, Frosty. Um, unless has there been a spillage that I've missed on one of my videos or one of yours?
yes. There's matter of fact, the video I'm working on right now, I did a little bit of overpour on it. And
Okay.
so I'm sitting there with my popsicle stick, scrape, push. And it's like, so yeah, so if and I think it was Michelle and Glitz and Glitter um, that I figured out, look at it from the side to see if it's domed. And if it is, leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think I've overpour is one of those things. I think everybody does it every now and then, and it's easy enough to fix 9 times out of 10. But you don't want it to go all over your work surface either. So you're better off taking it out at that point before it cures.
Yes, I've actually done that once on my heat mat because was moving it from point A over to my heat mat because it's on the other side of the room. And thankfully, I had the forward to know, hey, put something underneath that because chances are this is going to spill. And when I
Yeah.
set it down on my heat mat, yep, it just it was done. It was over. So it was a
Um,
mess.
by the way, you're up to 102 subscribers now, so we're
Oh my
growing.
goodness!
Uh,
So
it's
exciting.
Yeah, I just had to check that. I see we've got the Apex ladies in as well. So hello, ladies. I hope you're doing well. But no, so talk to me about what you want to do with your channel. What are the plans going forward?
Well, like I said, once I get out in my she shed, I would like to bring in more of my other crafts with the resin because I do so many. I mean, I've made um like night lights and some other crafts that you wouldn't think that would should go together. Because I
Yeah,
used to make something every year for my staff members because I'm one of these ones. I feel like something that's been handmade specifically for somebody is a better gift than going out and buying, just buying something. So I experimented with a lot. So that's my goal is eventually bring more of my overall craft, maybe even um, my sublimations, my tumblers, all that. But I need space.
yeah. That's the problem. We all run out of space. But I agree with what you said there as well. And material things are one thing, but actually, if somebody makes you a gift from the heart and then sends you that gift, it means a lot more because they've actually spent the time doing it. And actually, interestingly, we've had Lou on in the past from Create and Bloom, and I sent her a picture of one of my pieces that I made, and she says, "I absolutely love that." I says, "Well, do you know what? You've thrown me a few freebies in over the past few orders that I've done. It's yours." And I posted it to her, and she sent me a message today to say that she's absolutely in love with it. And that just makes me smile. And it's like I've just started putting a few pieces in a local shop, and I'm not making any money out of it yet. Don't get me wrong, but it's hopefully just about covering the rent of the table that I rent. And it's the knowing that somebody has valued that piece enough to buy it and that they're going to treasure it and appreciate the art. It just means so much.
It does. And, I want to give a little shout out here to one of the people that's here and that just I see her in the chat. Chastity Almond she is the reason that I started doing my resin because she's the one that taught me how to do tumblers. So, hello, Chastity.
I I've not fallen into that trap yet, but I've heard about the trap of tumblers that once you
Yes,
start, you don't stop. So it's definitely going to be on an upcoming video. I need to get myself one of those tumbling turners though first,
I
and a
have
few
3.
tumblers, because I want one of those anyway. Because I want to start doing like the little ceramic rings that you can do, where you can put the inlays in the center as well. But that's on my Christmas list. So if I get one of those for Christmas, I'll be experimenting with tumblers. And there's so many people that do tumblers. It's amazing.
It is. And I like with my tumblers, I go to a store, whatever, and they'll have like scrap material, fabrics. And I've actually wrapped tumblers in those and put stuff on them and covered, epoxied them. But yeah, it once you get started on it, it's like any other craft that you like. It's addictive.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Resin is addictive. So if anybody's watching this live and they're thinking about getting into resin, think about the fact that once you get into it, you're not going to stop. So start thinking about your space, where you're going to do it, where you're going to put things when they're finished, and realize it will take over. But that's part of the fun, I think.
It is. And you was talking to Petra, and I think it's her that was talking about doing the web technique.
Yeah, the web effect.
That's the next one I think I want to try.
I
So
don't
we'll
think
see how.
I've tried that either yet, actually, but I've seen some beautiful pieces as well coming through. And that's the great thing as well, is I can switch on, and it's not very often I get to watch YouTube, and I feel really bad because I'm a YouTube artist, but I don't get a chance to watch other people's videos half the time because I work full time, do 2 videos a week, do this live every week, try and line people up for the lives. There's just not enough hours in the day. So I'm lucky if I get to watch 1 video a day. And it makes me feel bad because I'm asking people to watch my videos and I don't have time to watch all of theirs. But every now and then one will just pop up and I'll be like, wow, I need to try that. And I think that's what's so exciting. That's never going to stop, I don't think.
No, it's like I said, it's just I started out with my one little mushroom mold, and now, like I said, I have my little magic box. Well, it's not little; it's pretty big. Magic box of mold, as Jeannie calls it, and that's kind of the nickname now. And I was like, okay, let me go in here in the magic box and find something else we can use. And so,
I've
yeah,
got
it is so addictive.
I've got 5 magic boxes now at the side of me. So.
I need another one. I mean, it's pretty full.
But do you know what? I've got enough molds there to keep me going for at least a year's worth of videos. But then I'll see another one that I just have to have.
Yes. Um, I was doing something yesterday. I don't remember what, and something. I think an alert came up from Timu. I have a few more molds that'll be here in the next couple of weeks, and then
Yeah.
I ordered some more from Laura's Art Corner, and so yeah. So you just can't get enough.
No. And do you know what? But the interesting thing is when you first start out, now this might surprise some of you. When I first started out, I had 2 molds. That was it. And I just tried loads of different techniques in those molds. So one of them was a standard round 6 coaster mold. And the other one was a standard jewelry mold. And that was it. That kept me going for 6 months. And then I thought, you know what? I love this. I need to invest. I need to get more molds. I need to get more exciting and do different projects. But that's the thing. Sometimes it's about having one mold and seeing how many different things you can do with that mold as well. That's exciting.
Jeannie says they're like Pokemon. Oh, thank you.
You've got to collect them all.
Yeah, yeah. And I tell you, one of my favorite new little molds, it's so small, but it's so perfect, are these little earbud case holders.
I've seen a couple of videos with those, and I was
Yes,
going to ask actually because I've got some AirPods, but that I think is the older shape. So I've got iPods. I don't know what they are now. I think they're the 3rd version, and I think that's the version for the 2nd version. So I'm curious if they'd fit in.
yeah. I'm trying to find if anybody knows. I'm trying to find a few more styles of those because some people don't have those that particular type of earbud, but I think it'd be really cool, like if you could find some that would fit the other, like other op brands or whatever.
Yeah. But is there a hole in the base as well where you can still plug the charger in?
Yes, and that's this is whoops. There's the base right there. So
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I
Because
just
that does remind me of, I think it's the AirPods 2 case.
hmm,
Now, I was very fortunate last Christmas, and I got a Black Friday deal, and I managed to get myself the third version, and that's a slightly different shape case. So it'd be interesting to see if they do that. But the great thing with that is that's functional as well. And most people in resin, they don't treat it as art. They want something what actually has a use as well.
mhm. Yeah, that's why I was, I think in the video I've got coming out that I've mentioned something like this make great, cheap, inexpensive stocking stuffers or, any little
Yeah.
gifts, like for co-workers, whatever. And so that's why I'm on the search for um, some more designs of them because they're just, I thought that's great.
Yeah. And even, pocket hugs, they're a great gift. They use pennies worth of resin, but people love them because they'll just put them in the bag or in the pocket and they can hold them and feel the resin, little things like that. I think are great, especially this time of year at Christmas. Throw some glitter in, make it special, and just give them to people and make them smile. And as you say, makes the day sometimes. But just to remind people as well, we've got about 10 minutes left on this live. So any questions you're dying to ask, Lo, make sure you put them in chat in caps lock so we don't miss them. Tim, I hope you're doing well. I can see that you've just popped in as well and you're waiting in the waiting room for your back injection. I hope it goes okay, Tim. I'm sure that's probably, I feel like a bit of a wuss now talking about my flu injection earlier, but I hope it goes well. But no, do you know what? I think it's been amazing again getting to know somebody new like you as well. Because before today, we didn't really chat. We'd spoken a couple of times on messages, I think, and then we've just talked about this coming on this live. So it's great for me that I've made another friend in the resin community, and hopefully everybody in chat has as well.
Thank you. I certainly appreciate it. And yes, that's why I say I don't worry about subscribers. I like to call them friends because that's what we're making. We're making new friends. And to Tim, I used to have those epidural spine injections, but they weren't working. So now I'm going to have a lower back surgery. So good luck with that.
Well, I hope that goes okay as well. Just so you know as well, Laura mentioned earlier on, she said, let me know if you want any more molds because she's got racks of molds that have been used one time.
Oh, I'll have to. I will reach out for sure, Miss Laura. You got my email.
There you go. You're going to have a second magic box full by the sounds of it.
Probably 3.
Apex as well. So the lovely ladies from Apex are asking what advice you would give to a beginner getting into resin.
I think the most informative thing would be to say, hey, watch other people do it first, and before you go rushing out and buying stuff, look at what you're wanting and look at your monthly budget because like you say, it's not cheap. So be sure that's what you want to get into, but then just watch videos and learn all you can and then experiment. Just enjoy it.
Just have fun. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. The only thing I'd probably add to that as well is make sure you know what resin you're using and therefore use a respirator and gloves again, because everybody's got different sensitivities as well. And again, I'm not telling people what to do when I say this because I've been known every now and then where I've not put a mask on a small piece where I should have. But you don't know what your tolerance is. You don't know what reaction you're going to have to it. So especially at the start, make sure you're always wearing a gloves and a respirator is my bit of advice, especially if most of us, let's be honest, when we first start, we'll get a cheaper brand from Temu. They're the ones that I think are the riskiest. And I think that's the thing. So just be safe as well as having fun. And don't copy my experiments all the time because sometimes I go a little bit crazy and add stuff into resin, which you shouldn't do because it is a chemical compound. I just like to see what's going to happen, but don't always copy what you see on YouTube either.
Yeah, the one thing I would add, Andy, is that I was doing resin for 2 years and never had a problem with any resins. And then I got into, using UV resin and used it for a year and was fine. Well, then when I had my neck surgery in March, and my friend Chastity will attest to it, I had used UV resin, I was, playing with and stuff, and didn't have my gloves on for whatever reason. And I woke up one day, both of my hands were covered in blisters. They were red, they were hot, they were sweaty. I mean, just, it was horrible, itchy. And so now, if you don't wear gloves for anything, wear it for UV resin, because that sensitivity can come from nowhere.
Yeah. And actually, I learned the other day, because again, I always watch videos about resin and resin safety as well, because I think it's important that we research it as well as the art. And I learned the other day that apparently the more you work with resin, it's sort of, if you're not wearing a mask, your body kind of builds up an intolerance to it. And you can get to a point where you become more and more sensitive to it just because you've been exposed to it more. And I didn't know that. And don't get me wrong, I do try and wear a mask most of the time, again, because I work indoors. I've got an air purifier next to my workstation and things like that, which I know not everybody can afford. So make sure you just think about that you've got a ventilated space, and make sure you think about, whilst that's curing, fumes are still coming off as well as when you mix it. So it's just important to, I suppose, think about those aspects. Because again, when I first got into it, I watched some of these big table makers and things like that, and I never saw anybody wearing a mask. But actually, you don't know what damage you could do. And that's the thing. And don't get me wrong, people have their own sort of view on risk and whether they're prepared to do it. And it's the same with paints and stuff like that. You don't know what fumes they're letting off. And I don't see many artists sat there in a mask doing it. And again, some paints can be quite high in sort of VOCs or have a lot of alcohol in them and things like that. And alcohol's one of the worst for the fumes, which you don't realize until you use it a lot. So just be safe as well as having fun is what I would say.
Definitely, like I said, because I know, like, if I make a jar or something, something has a lid, it's going to be covered. I always let them set for a week or so, because if you put that lid on, that fumes just build up in there and build up, and then somebody takes it off. It's like, wow, that's pretty potent.
Yeah, and that's a good point as well. Jeannie B's just put as well that she tries to encourage people not to blow the micas, because it's dangerous that they could go into your lungs as well and things like that, which is true. And again, people might not think about things like that, but you don't know what's in them, and they're sharp as well. So again, people don't necessarily know these things when you first get in. So just do a bit of research to be safe and still have fun with it. That's the key is enjoy the art, but make sure that you're safe while you do it as well. And I think that's the important thing. Laura's, in fact, Terry's just put his Laura's art creations. I don't know what that meant on that comment, but there we go. Yeah, sometimes we get comments that I don't necessarily make sense because they've been put in 10 minutes ago and we've gone past that conversation. But back to, obviously, your channel then. What is the next few projects, what people have got to look forward to?
Well, like I said, because, Christmas is coming up and stuff, I do have some Christmas pieces that I'm going to try to get done before, my back surgery, because after that, I don't know what I'll be doing anytime soon. But yeah, so I've got some Christmas pieces that I want to get finished or started, actually. I haven't even started them yet. And then, just, I don't really plan what I make. I just, I go in that mold box and yeah, that looks like a good one. And the other one, I think, besides the Christmas stuff, is the brush holder, because everybody was doing the brush holder. And
yeah,
I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now because everybody's doing it. Well, it seems to have waned somewhat. So
I use a pot for mine. It's just simpler.
Yeah. So that's pretty, by the way. So that's the next one of the things.
Yeah. But again, Christmas-wise, I've just finished 100 Christmas ornaments. I'm not going to tell you how long they took to package. it took longer to package than it did to pour.
I saw when you was tossing them out. I'm like, man, he's been busy. When does he sleep?
100 ornaments. I thought, you know what, it's that time of year. So I think those sorts of things are nice if you've not got a lot of money and to spend on a bigger piece of art, but you want to get somebody a piece of resin to just put on a Christmas tree. I thought, you know what, I can do those reasonably cheap and not mass produce them, but do them over a period of time and get a lot of them done. And so I managed to get 100 of those packaged into the shop. I just hope they sell. Otherwise, I'm going to have a lot of ornaments on my tree this Christmas.
Well, your tree may not be able to stand up if you put all those on there.
No. Oh, Terry's asking who has the extra molds. I want to try resin. I think it was Laura from Laura's Art Corner that mentioned that she's got some one-time use molds. So again, reach out to Laura. She might have some spare. You know, who knows? But we've gone over the hour. Can you believe it?
Wow, it went really fast and wasn't nearly as nervous as I thought it was going to be. I'm like, man, I don't know about this.
It's just a chat. That's what I said. It's just a conversation and getting to know people. So anybody that's worried about coming on a live, I'll try my best to put you at ease. I am this strange English bloke on the camera. I can't change that. But hopefully you won't be too nervous throughout the process. So hopefully put your nerves at rest a little bit. But no, I always do this at the end, so I will still extend this for another 5 or so minutes. Is there anything that you want? Oh, in fact, we've just had another couple of questions come through. So, Lisa, if you're watching, don't type these out. I can see them on the screen, and it saves you typing them. Here we go. So, Frosty was asking, if you don't know how much resin to use, how would you find out?
Well, I know you can use rice or you can use water, whichever your preference is. You know, because the weight wise and things, it's going to be about the same.
Yeah. I normally use water. So I'll just I'll get a measuring cup, fill it with water. So that tells me, I don't know, 6 ounces, pour that in the mold. And then if it's full, I know it's 6 ounces of resin roughly. That's the easiest way. Some people freeze them as well. And then you can actually see what the mold looks like as well, which is interesting. I've not done that yet.
Yeah, you can use that. I typically use water just because I have a sink around the corner there and I can grab water if I need it rather than go downstairs and try to find, you know, some more rice. But thank you, Jeannie B. I appreciate you. So, I mean, sometimes, though, that's not even precise because like this video I'm working on now, it's a jar and it looks like it was going to hold a lot and it barely took anything. I'm like, now what I do with all this resin I've got left over?
Yeah. But I always over mix as well. So that's another tip. I'll always have a drip mold on the go. So at the minute, I've got a skull that is probably almost full, probably needs another couple of ounces to fill that. And these make perfect drip molds where literally I'll always overmix by at least an ounce in case I've underestimated. And then you get some really, really cool drip mold pieces as well, which I absolutely love. And again, it reminds me every time I look at them of the 6, 7, 8 different projects that were part of that. And it's the same with the clock. That started off as a drip mold. So again, always, if you know, let's say it's a 4 ounce mold, I'd probably mix 4.5 ounces because when you're mixing it, you're going to get a little bit stick to the side of the cup anyway. And when you pour it, that's still going to be on the side of the cup until you tip it up and let it all naturally drip out. So I would always go sort of 1/2 ounce over and have a drip mold ready.
Yeah, I've actually started doing that just because, you know, sometimes doing all the extras can be very time consuming and fiddly, but I don't mind having the extra resin because again, it just lets me make something else.
Yeah, definitely. And again, your drip molds can inspire you to do something different. And that's the really exciting thing. Sometimes the spare bits that I do on the side come out better than the project. And I'm like, I've just spent an hour on a project and the bits that I just threw in a mold at the side has come out better than the actual project.
Yes, it's I've got a box full of testaments over here beside me.
Yeah. But everyone's saying it's been lovely to meet you as well. And it has. You've been a brilliant guest as well. And thanks to everyone in the audience as well. You know, I really appreciate everyone turning up every Tuesday as well, spending time to sort of get to know other artists. But I always ask as well at the end if you've got any questions for me. So I think it's only fair that I let you ask any questions you might have.
Perfect. First off, thank you everybody that has subscribed today, that's come in here and met me and get to know me. But yeah, I do have a question, because one of the things that I seem to have a struggle with is finding a good place online to sell the products, because like I think somebody had said, Etsy's overloaded. There's this place, that place, without paying a huge amount of money. And have you ever heard of Zart?
Not heard of Zart.
So that's
what I would say is I've tried pretty much every platform to sell. And I think it depends where you direct your traffic, because no matter what platform you use, you're going to have to direct traffic there online, basically, is what I would say. Now, in person, if you can find like a little craft shop or something where they'll stock your pieces, it's different, because people get to see it, they get to feel the resin, they get to touch it. And I think that attracts people naturally. And I'm quite lucky that I've started to recently do that. But I tried eBay, I tried Etsy, I tried Shopify and set up my own shop. And I've just set up another website, which I'm building at the moment with Hosting Up, which is a different one. I've heard people do very well off TikTok Shop. Again, I've not tried that yet. I've heard some people can do it on Instagram. Laura's saying there that she gets a lot of business from it. But I think it's wherever you direct your audience to. And I think this is where I've gone wrong, is I've tried 4 or 5 different ways, and I might have mentioned it once in a video and not got any sales, and then got a bit deflated, not put any time into it, not uploaded new products. And I think with resin, if people want to collect resin art, they want to see new products constantly, different things, what might appeal to them. And again, this is where I've had to change my views on colors and everything, because I'm not particularly fond of pink, but a lot of my audience love pink. So I've started to think about, actually, some pieces I can create for me, and they're my pieces, and they're not going to be sold. And other pieces, I've got to think about what my audience wants and what would they potentially want to buy and get them involved. So this is something where I'm going to be doing a lot more practice myself over the next few months to try and find a way to do stuff online. Petra's saying she does a lot on Etsy there. But again, I think it's where you direct your audience. And I know other people that they've had Etsy shops for a long time and not sold a single piece because their shop started 5 years later than somebody else and they don't have as many listings. So there's no simple answer, I don't think. I think different things work for different people. And I know that I've seen some people where they've got very successful eBay shops. My problem when I've looked at eBay is that people seem to want to pay Temu prices. And I think people need to value the art that is resin art, and the time and energy that people put into making the pieces. I think sometimes people undervalue that. And again, it's like with blooms and things like that. We've just mentioned they can go wrong. They won't all go right. And therefore, you've got to try and factor that into your pricing as well. But I think it's about people, I think, are starting to make that switch now where they're actually starting to value handmade again, which sounds really strange. But I think years ago, people really valued handmade. And then we've started to value mass produced in China because it's cheap. And no offense to those companies, I think they have a place, and I think that they definitely have a place for people with less of a budget as well. But actually now people are starting to think about, I want to get something special for somebody. And there's nothing more special than something that's handmade. And I think it's starting to make a comeback.
I think, I completely agree. And I think somebody had asked when I said Zart, it's Z as in zebra, A-R-T as in Tom.
Yeah, I've not come across. I've come across a new one in the UK called New Monday, which again I've heard mixed reports with. I've heard some people have said it's more about getting more sellers on there, and that's where they make the money rather than actually promoting it. And I think the biggest thing I've learned is you can't rely on these platforms to bring the traffic to you. You still have to do that. So you have to promote it. You have to put it in your channel. You have to put it in your descriptions, and then that will gradually draw people to you.
I'm hoping that once I've had my back surgery and stuff, I'll be able to do more than what I used to do. Well, like I used to do, and do some craft fairs or even our local flea market. So, but I've got to get through this first.
Yeah, well, I think your channel's got a big future, genuinely, and I think we're all learning every day, and I am, on my channel. My editing's far from perfect on my videos. I know that, and I think, you know what? Just from this live, I feel like I've got to know you, and I've got to know your personality, which makes me want to watch more of your videos, and hopefully other people will want to as well. And I think that's what's special about the resin community. We become like friends and family. Even though we don't necessarily always meet. I've got more friends in the resin world that I would class as true friends than I have in the real world, and it's people that I've met over the years and that have given me advice and backwards and forwards. And I think that's what's so special. So I think you've got a very exciting future. My biggest piece of advice is just stay consistent. You'll get there. And every video, every comment, every like you get, every subscriber, it all adds, and gradually it builds up. And again, I'm in no way the finished product on my channel, and I'm hoping I'll get there in 10 years' time. Who knows? But in the meantime, just have fun, and as long as you enjoy it, it's worth doing. If you don't enjoy it, then don't do it.
That's true. Well, I thank you so much for this opportunity of being here, because I'm, meeting more people and obviously got more subscribers, or friends rather.
Yeah.
So thank you again for that.
No, thank you. And it's been brilliant. So if everybody who's here now, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to both channels. You might not be subscribed to me. Who knows? But again, subscribe to both channels. Let's keep growing together. I'll be back here next week with another artist from Instagram, so that's going to be an interesting one. And then the week after, we've got the ladies from Apex coming on, so that should be exciting as well. And then at the end of the month, I do need to say this in case people have missed that short that I've put out. There's going to be a special live, which is going to be the 10K giveaway live, where those 5 prizes that I've put out there can be won. So if you've missed that, go back and watch it, because I want everybody to have a chance to win. Apex, I know I've put up a £200 gift prize, which is amazing. I know Laura's put up $200 as well for her products as well, which is great. Create and Bloom was a £50 voucher. Into Resin was a $40 mold, and resiners are going to be donating something as well. So great prizes, and again, they can all get shipped wherever you are in the world. So get involved, and but thank you very much. And I'll see you all again next week. And it's been lovely meeting you. And don't forget, thumbs it up, put something in comments, and let's keep growing together.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. See you later.